Well, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm Ron Brown. This is Tech for Senior. It is episode 164. It is May the 22nd, which is actually a long weekend in Canada. I guess everyone else is long in the United States. It's next weekend. So, but you know, when you're retired, it doesn't really matter. Every weekend is a long weekend. So I want to thank everyone for being here today. Of course, this is a show about technology, and we will be with you for the next hour or maybe a little longer if you want to stay with us for our question and answer period. Today, we're very fortunate to have Chris and Jim Guld on to talk about Google Photos, Samsung, or Google Photos and photography with your phone. So we're going to have a great talk. We have a big show for you today. It's not, we'll start out with Bob and his security news roundup. We'll then move into, Bob's also going to talk a little bit about checking for a TPM chip with Windows 11. And he had a bit of a twist to that we were talking about the other day. So I thought this would be a good topic for today. And then really the spotlight of the show is going to be Chris is going to talk for about 30 minutes. And then Ray, of course, has his music outro. Then we'll be able to move into our Q&A period. And at the end of the Q&A, we have, of course, our premiere video that I will be putting in the link into the show. And we have 3 selections for you today. Huey's going to talk on using your Kindle to read and whether you should use the Kindle app or ℏ𝕬𝕝 app. So he's going to talk about the differences between the two. And since we're having trouble as we get older with our eyes, Bob's going to tell us how to make things bigger in Windows. You can make things bigger and smaller. Probably not a lot of us are going to do smaller, but we all want bigger. And Bob's going to show us how to do that. And, you know, your music collection could be worth a lot of money. And you have no idea those old records in your closet, how much they're worth. Ray is going to tell us how to assess the value of your music collection. So if you want to find out, you could be wealthy. You may have just won the lottery. So Ray's going to tell you how to do that today. So that is all on our premiere video that is coming up at 1:30. We, of course, taped the show, and the show will be up later on. If you are watching this on today, thank you for coming. And if you're watching it on YouTube, thanks for watching. If you're watching it on short YouTube Shorts, right? Thanks, Bob. YouTube Shorts, then just click the link and it'll take you right to the show. For those of you who probably already know what the schedule is because you saw our newsletter, which we publish twice a week. We publish that on Tuesdays and Saturdays. So those of you who watch the newsletter on Saturday will also know that on June the 5th, we have a Bring a Guest feature to our show. That's not next week, that'll be the week after, but we'd like you to bring a guest. Now, and we're gonna have a draw, and whoever, you may win a $25 Amazon gift certificate. So now, to bring a guest, you could either just give them the Zoom link and they can just sort of they could log in and do a Zoom meeting, or just go to your neighbor next door, pound on the door and drag them over and or her or whoever, and have them sit in front of your monitor and bring a guest, right? So all that you have to do is just bring a guest. On June the 5th, we'll enter your name into the draw, and you may indeed you may win a $25 gift certificate. Now, you're all going to wonder, well, how do I enter into the contest? Well, you're going to find that out in our next Saturday newsletter. You have to read the newsletter to find out how to enter, right? So those of you who, of course, don't subscribe to the newsletter, as typical, you'll just be out of the loop, right? But there's two type of people. There's the people that are in the loop and aren't in the loop. So if you do subscribe, you'll find out how to do that, and it'll be in the newsletter. Huey, how are you
Yes,
today?
I'm doing good. And that newsletter is free, and there's some great articles in it every week, every twice a week, as a matter of fact. And they're different.
That is true. So we will certainly we look forward to that. How's your week going? We got learning Chromebooks this week, eh?
We have learning Chromebooks on Thursday. We have our Tech for Senior Live on Thursday. And then I'm doing for STUG members, I'm doing just a tips and discussions on Tuesday. And then on Friday, I'm doing another one just talking about AI and just getting some discussions going with some of our members. So I've got a full week.
You do indeed, and so that'll be fun. If you are interested in a Chromebook, I know I put an article this week in about Chromebooks. If you are interested in a Chromebook, you're thinking about maybe getting a Chromebook, or you have a Chromebook, it's a free monthly, I guess, Zoom meeting that we do for an hour. We teach. We've been doing it for what, 3 years now, Huey? Long
Close
time.
to it. Yep.
Yeah. So come, and it usually is a good time. We have a good group that usually come. And that's Bob. You don't have your new hair on that I made for you last week.
No, it's hard to get that on when I'm live. It's nice to have it when we're using AI, and unfortunately, AI isn't with me all the time, although I use it constantly.
It is indeed. Well, we had some fun with that last couple of weeks to demonstrate some of the new features of AI. Indeed. You've been doing a lot of work with it, haven't you?
Yes, and I've been making lots and lots of videos.
I see that. We're going to be playing some of those in the future as well. And Ray, didn't know you could be a millionaire today on those records, eh? You know, they're worth a lot of money, right?
I'm looking forward to watching and see what I said.
Yeah.
It was so long ago, I probably forgot.
Well, you might learn something, you know?
Yes.
There you go. There you go. And Bill, of course, Bill James, how the heck are you doing? We had a lot of fun with Bill last week. He was on our Thursday show. He comes on once a month, and we had a good time. It was lots of fun, and we look forward to your gadget for tomorrow.
Yep, it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have a new gadget tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that just strictly for entertainment and fun. So, you know, proceed.
That's not what my wife says when I buy all these gadgets. She says, "Don't you read Bill's article?" she says, "Not another gadget."
I have lots of fun with that.
We have a lot of fun. We do indeed. And Mike Ungerman, you sitting there, are you smiling again as your car is charging with that free sun?
I have to do mornings now because we've entered Florida's afternoon thunder bumper season.
Oh, really? Okay. So can you charge up enough in the morning to get some gas to go to the grocery store?
2 hours, level 2 charging. Yep.
There you go. There you go. Great. Well, let's get on with it, because I know everyone they don't want to listen to me. They want to listen to Chris. So let's get going with your security news update, and we'll get on with the show.
Here is my security news roundup for the week ending May 19th, 2023. Google to start purging accounts that have been inactive for 2 years. In a blog post, the Mountain View-based firm announced a change in its inactive account policy. Back in 2020, the company said it would remove content stored in an inactive account, but would keep the account. According to the blog, Google says it will now delete accounts along with the content if the account has been inactive for 2 years or longer. It appears this move is based on user data security. The tech giant claims that unused accounts are more likely to be compromised due to a variety of factors. Some examples given include a lack of two-factor authentication and security checks. Read more at androidauthority.com. Parents can now stalk their kids with new Uber features. Uber announced a whole host of updates and upgrades to its app and platform at its annual Go Get product showcase event today, including a new feature for teens, family profiles, Uber car seat, and more. The teens feature, which will launch on May 22nd in more than a dozen cities in the US and Canada, allows parents of those ages 13 to 17 the ability to contact drivers directly during a trip, ensure that only highly rated drivers pick up their kids, report issues on behalf of their teen. Drivers can also opt out of chauffeuring teens. Read more at Mashable.com. U.S. offers a $10 million bounty for capture of notorious Russian ransomware operator. A Russian national has been charged and indicted by the U.S. Department of Justice for launching ransomware attacks against thousands of victims in the country and across the world. These victims include law enforcement and government agencies, hospitals, and schools, DOJ said. Total ransom demands allegedly made by the members of these three global ransomware campaigns to their victims amounted to as much as $400 million, while total victim ransom payments amounts to as much as $200 million. Matt V. has been charged with conspiring to transmit ransom demands, conspiring to damage protected computers, and intentionally damaging protected computers. If convicted, which is unlikely, he faces over 20 years in prison. Read more at thehackernews.com. Searching for AI tools? Watch out for rogue sites distributing red line malware. Malicious Google search ads for generative AI services like OpenAI ChatGPT and Midjourney are being used to direct users to sketchy websites as part of a bat loader campaign designed to deliver redline stealer malware. Both AI services are extremely popular but lack first-party standalone apps, i.e. user interfaces with ChatGPT via their web interface, while Midjourney uses Discord, Sentieri said in an analysis. This vacuum has been exploited by threat actors looking to drive AI app seekers to imposter web pages, promoting fake apps. Read more at thehackernews.com. This cybercrime syndicate pre-infected over 8.9 million Android phones. A cybercrime enterprise known as Lemon Group is leveraging millions of pre-infected Android smartphones worldwide to carry out their malicious operations, posing significant supply chain risks. The infection turns these devices into mobile proxies, tools for stealing and selling SMS messages, social media and online messaging accounts, and monetization via advertisements and click fraud, cybersecurity firm Trend Micro said. The activity encompasses no fewer than 8.9 million compromised Android devices, particularly budget phones, with the highest concentration of the infections discovered in the US, Mexico, Indonesia, Thailand, Russia, South Africa, India, Angola, the Philippines, and Argentina. Read more at thehackernews.com. Apple issues emergency patches for 3 new zero-day vulnerabilities. Apple on Thursday rolled out security updates to iOS, iPadOS, macOS, tvOS, watchOS, and the Safari web browser to address 3 new zero-day flaws that it said are being actively exploited in the wild. There are currently no additional technical specifications about the flaws, the nature of the attacks, or the identity of the threat actors that may be exploiting them. That said, such weaknesses have been historically leveraged as part of highly targeted intrusions to deploy mercenary spyware on the devices of dissidents, journalists, and human rights activists, among others. Update as soon as possible. Read more at thehackernews.com. Montana is the first state to fully ban TikTok. Montana has become the first state to implement a TikTok ban, following heated debates over privacy and national security risks. Governor Greg Gianforte tweeted that the ban has been implemented to protect personal and private data from the Chinese Communist Party. In April, Montana became the first state to pass a bill seeking a complete ban on TikTok. And earlier today, the state's governor put his signature on it, turning it into law. The TikTok ban is supposed to enter legal enforcement starting January 1st, 2024. Read more at /gear.com. This week's must-see on my YouTube channel: how select small towns from all across America affected the history of the U.S. Small in size, but not small in their importance to the history of the U.S. Please check out my playlist on this topic at the link listed. New videos are always being added. Did you know, despite the widely held belief that Jeeps were named such because the U.S. Army referred to them as government purpose or general purpose vehicles, the term Jeep was in use by Army personnel as early as 1914, long before the Jeep, as we know it, was put into service during World War II. The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. Thanks to Coretta Scott King. Just thought you might want to know. And that's a wrap for this week's Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching. Next, let's find out more about either TPM, or if you have a Dell, it's called PTT.
So I have a Dell Inspiron 7786, which is about 2 years old. And when I ran the test to see whether or not I could get the upgrade to Windows 11, I was very surprised, and it said, no TPM 2 chip. That was disappointing. But I don't give up that easy. So I've done some research. And Dell actually doesn't have a TPM chip in a Dell. It's called something different. In order to set your Dell up, if it's fairly new and it comes up and tells you there's no TPM chip, don't give up. Go into the BIOS, and for me to get into the BIOS, I had to hit the F2 key repeatedly as soon as I rebooted the system, and then it went into the BIOS. Once you get to the BIOS in the Dell, you're looking for something that's called PTT, Platform Trusted Technology. It's the same as TPM. It is still the trusted technology. Needless to say, this was turned off. I ran into one other problem. In the BIOS settings under Advanced Boot Options, the Enable Legacy Option ROMs was turned on. If that's turned on, as it states here, if Legacy Option ROM can't be enabled if you want PTT to work. So make sure that the Legacy Option ROM is unchecked. If that's checked, it won't work. This needs to be unchecked, as you see in this photo here. Once this is unchecked, then you can go down to PTT Security under Security Setting, and you can now turn on PTT. Turn it on. Once it's on, save your setting and reboot the system. After the system got rebooted, surprise, surprise, That computer is now fully ready to run Windows 11. It is compatible. And actually, that computer right now is in the process of updating to the preview release of Windows 11. Stay safe, be free. I hope this helps.
And that
Bob.
feature for me got turned off again somehow.
Oh, yeah.
In order to update to the latest version of Windows 11, which didn't happen automatically. I had to go back in and do that whole same thing all over again. So now the system's fully up to date.
Yeah, Bob and I were talking about this earlier in the week, and I thought, we should play that video again because I think it's so important. You may get that error saying it's not upgradable, but it is if you just turn on that feature. Eh?
If you have a Dell, you need that information.
Right. Excellent information. All right. So of course, this is the time in the show where we're all waiting for Chris Gould, and of course, Jim, who's going to be running the show behind Chris. So anyway, thank you so much, and take it away, Chris. I know they all want you not to listen to me, so go ahead.
Oh, we just have to bring you along with us everywhere we go to introduce us. Although if I did that, I wouldn't be able to get my head through the door after a while. Thanks for inviting us. We love your group, and we always learn something when we come here. So happy to come and teach some of our stuff.
Yeah.
And what we are teaching today is some more tips about smartphone photography. I'm going to focus today on the portrait mode and a little bit on taking video. We tend to forget about video. I'm going to be using an Apple phone, an Android phone, and Google Photos because it works on both. And in case you haven't seen us before, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jim. And we are Geeks on Tour, and we can prove it because we wear these silly hats. Another word for a geek is a propeller head, and we tend to be propeller heads.
Oh, yeah.
We've been in this a long time, so.
If you see our wedding photos, we wore hats like these in our wedding photos because we are geeks.
Okay.
All right. So, and we tour, we do a lot of traveling. So we call ourselves Geeks on Tour, and that is our website, geeksontour.com. Everything we do is there, including a page that includes all the slides and the video for the last time we were here. All you would do is go to geeksontour.com/classes and scroll down until you see December 5, 2022. Or you could go to it on the Tech for Senior YouTube playlist of these and find December 5, 2022. We also did smartphone photography tips there, but they were different tips. We did clean the lens, picking lenses, live and motion photos, love them, panoramas, removing reflection, and night mode computational photography. Today, we're going to do portrait photos. I think I will get a chance to show you Magic Eraser and some tips about both taking and editing videos. I asked earlier, and I was not at all surprised that half of you are using iPhones. I am a little surprised that of the Android users, it was only half Samsung. I have an iPhone SE, just a little. I don't have any of the fancy iPhone. I have a fairly fancy Samsung S21 Ultra, and if I ever need to know a question about Pixel,
I have a Pixel 7 Pro.
Yeah, I'll bet you that most of the Android other of you are Pixels. Okay, I always have more material than I have time, but I love answering questions. So put them in the chat and we will absolutely be able to get to them in the Q&A afterwards, or if I see one that looks important to answer right now, I will do that. Portrait photos. I want to encourage people to use that portrait mode. It makes such a more professional looking picture of people what it does primarily is blur the background. This is something that digital SLR cameras have done all the time because of their depth of field settings. But the camera just has a button, and let me show you where that is. On the Samsung, I'll lift it up a little bit here, huh?
I think I killed it again.
Oh, okay. There on the iPhone, it's very easy to spot because if you're in the camera, portrait is right there. All you do is tap on portrait. You are now using the portrait mode. On the Samsung, I'm pretty sure by default, portrait is not here immediately, but if you go all the way over to more, then you see them all. And if, like me, you like to use portrait a lot, you can just tap this little plus and then move portrait down to the main row and save. Now, when you're in the camera, portrait is right there. And I have a couple of very short videos to show you about using the portrait mode. When taking pictures of people with your iPhone, don't settle for just a regular photo. Try the portrait mode. It'll give you a professional looking blurred background. And you can even use these different lighting options. Just rub your finger on the screen and you might see this dramatic effect called stage light. So here's the regular photo. Here is the portrait with the blurred background, and here is the stage light. Why take a regular picture when you can take a professional looking portrait with a blurred background? This is my Samsung S21, and instead of just photo, you click on portrait and that blurs the background. You can take a picture. You can also choose these lighting options and the most dramatic one is this one called backdrop, which removes the background completely and replaces it with a color. Unfortunately, you cannot change the color. So here is the regular photo, here is the portrait photo with the blurred background, and here is the portrait photo with backdrop. All right, so that is iPhone and Samsung. Pixel also just has a portrait and it does the same thing. I cannot find on the Pixel any of the background lighting options. Maybe with the next version. But then I also want to show you, what if you say, oh, I really like that blurred background, but I took a picture years ago, didn't know about it, or it was before smartphone photography. Is there anything I can do? Yes, Google Photos can edit a picture and blur the background. So I want to show you that. I'm going to use the Samsung, but this works exactly the same on the iPhone. It is Google Photos. So I just open up Google Photos and I find a photo that I want to blur the background. So I just think this is such a nice picture of me and Jim on the beach. I want to make it a better photo, with a blurred background. Anybody else see another problem with this photo though? What's with this person's head coming out of Jim's shoulder? What? Yeah.
You don't want those people there.
I don't want those people there. So before I do the blur background, I'm going to use the new fancy feature called Magic Eraser. You just tap on Edit, and you might see Magic Eraser right away. That's if Google Photos has already noticed something that could be erased. If it doesn't, you should definitely find it under the Tools menu. And there is Magic Eraser. Notice also the multicolored 1 next to these options. What that means is these won't work for you if you are on the 100% free 15 gigabyte limit Google Photos. If you are paying even the basic amount, which is $20 a year, then you have the ability to use these features. I think it's well worth it. So I tap on Magic Eraser, and it analyzes the photo, and it comes up with her. It wants to take her out of Jim's shoulder, but I say, no, I also want him. So I can just rub over him, and notice I don't have to be exact. It highlighted just the exact person. And then I want to get what it did highlight, erase all, much better. Now I want a portrait blur. So, and it's called that, portrait blur. I tap that and it blurs the background. I can drag the slider to make it blur more or less, and I'm done. And I save a copy, so this will not let you overwrite your original. So when you're done, you now have 2 photos of me and Jim on the beach. One with a blurred background and no extra people, and one with that is the original. All right. And so that works both on Apple and on Android as long as you're using Google Photos. Now there's one way cool thing that is Apple only. So, and Apple only meaning you have to be using the Apple Photos app. And it will grab a person and actually rip it out of the photo, completely eliminating the background. So let me show you what I mean. I have this photo. Let's try that one. If I, so the background there is crooked and it's messy. I just want my face. If you touch and hold, notice, did you see that kind of like a light that goes around, and now I am attached to my finger. Can you see that below my finger? It has separated me from the rest of the picture. Is that trippy or what? And it is just so easy. And if I leave it alone for a minute, it starts giving you this outline of what it has. And if I just tap share and then scroll down to save image, I now have that image of just me without the background. Now, so far, there are no tools in Apple Photo or Google Photos to put me on top of another background, but you can using things like Canva. I've made some I've taken me out using this iPhone feature and then used that photo to put on top of a background in Canva. So I think that is just way cool feature. And just wait, Google Photos, I'm sure will get it. They have already announced something called Magic Editing, which I could just move me around in that picture is the example they give. All right, so that's pretty much. So here's just a review. In Apple, you could take a portrait photo just by tapping on portrait first, and when you move your finger over on the screen, you get the different lighting options. What's demonstrated here is called stage light. On the Samsung, same thing, but if you tap the lighting options button, you get something called backdrop, and it takes away all the background and puts in that color. Pretty cool. And Google Photos can blur the background even after. And this example, just to make sure you understand that your smartphone didn't even have to take the picture. This is a picture of me when I was like 25 years old.
That was only a few years ago.
So you must be a Google One subscriber. You open the photo and tap Edit. Portrait might appear right away. If not, you tap on the Tools button and then Blur. And I also added a vignette to this one. And how are we doing on time? I think I'm good. I want to show you vignette. So let's say in this photo that I'm taking, we're trying to update our passports, but I think this photo could stand a blur background and then a vignette. You find vignette on the Adjustments tab in the Editing, and then it's all the way over. Lots of different adjustments you can do. There's vignette, and then there's a slider. Yeah. And then Save Copy. All right. So just all sorts. Do not settle for the picture that you took. A couple of editing taps will make a much better picture. All right. Now, oh, and here is the mind-blowing magic from iPhone photos. You just touch the person in the photo and it separates from the rest. Now, if it was a live photo, this can be a little bit tricky because the first time you touch and hold, it starts moving. It's live, but just keep holding, keep trying. It works on live photos as well as any other. And once it is separated from the photo, you get an option to share or to copy. So you can copy it and then paste it into a text message, for example. Or you can share and save. Okay. Now, are you ready for video? Don't forget about video. These phones are excellent video cameras, really excellent video cameras. And I want to show you how easy it is to take video. No need to select the video mode first. You just hold down on the shutter button. So go like you're going to take a picture, but instead of just tapping the shutter button, hold down. It turns into video. And then when you let go, it stops. And then if you want it to keep taking video, you can drag it over to a little lock icon and it will stay in video mode. Taking video will enhance your photo experience in your albums or making little movies. So I want a demo. Here's my iPhone, and I'm just going to go into the camera mode, and I get ready to take a picture of Jim, right? Just by tapping the little, but I say, oh no, he's doing something here. He's waving, so I want to take video. Just hold down, and do you see the red counter start to go at the top? And now when I let go, I'm done. That works exactly the same on Samsung. So I believe you will take more videos if you know how easy it is. Just hold down on the button when you have gone to take a photo. Next, slow motion and fast motion. These are just so much fun. So on the iPhone, once again, I'll show you where it is on the Samsung, works just the same in a minute, but I'll just do it on here. On the iPhone, there is actually a slow-mo option right on the camera. And then you have to, and now I want you to shake your head, says no. You have to hold down on it. And it is doing very slow motion. I'll show you this in a second. Okay.
Okay.
And then you let go. And then time lapse is what they call the fast motion. So once again, tell me no.
No.
Or tell me yes.
Okay.
Or wave a little bit.
Fine, I'm out of here.
Okay. So now I want to show you what those look like. And I'm going into, so here is what the slow motion, notice it starts off regular speed for a second. It just has to kind of get adjusted, and then it goes into this slow. So look how slow that is. Okay, and then the fast is very, very fast. Now, why would you use this? I have a couple of samples here. Grandkids are great. You need to slow them down, right? Because they're moving so fast. So here is an example of our grandson a few years ago. And I really like...
More than a few years ago.
Yeah, I really like over at the end when he jumps off. Yeah, that is great in slow motion. And the other sample to show you is a gym working. Now, us old folks, we need to be speeded up. So here is when he did a great job of putting down pavers in our backyard. And I just did this handheld too. I just took fast video to get the idea of all the work that he was doing, but not take so much time in taking the video.
Notice I had to rest a lot there.
That was another one. And I actually put several of those together and made a whole little movie about this backyard project. So easy to do. Okay, where were the video? Then I did not show you yet. On the Samsung, where are the slow... Once again, if you just hold down on the shutter button, it turns into video mode and it just starts taking video. If you wanted that, and when you let go, it stops. If you want the slow motion or the fast motion, that is over under more. And there is slow motion, and you would tap it and it turns into a square. You always have to make sure that this timer is going to know that you're actually taking video, right? So many times.
So many times.
I think I'm taking video, and then I tap it to stop it, and it starts. So you really have to pay attention.
And different cameras do it different ways.
Yeah, a little, yes, exactly. Now, how do I get out of this slow motion? Well, I see there's a backup right there. You can always, on Android phones, tap on your back button to get out of whatever option you had just done. The fast is also called a lapse, hyperlapse. So it's under the more. And if you choose to use these all the time, you can put them down on your main line of buttons. Okay, back to the slides. Editing video with Google Photos. You can trim from the beginning or the end. So like that video of our grandson on the swing, if I only like the end, I can go into Google Photos, edit, and trim all the way over to the spot and then save a copy. You can also, if your video is dark, you can use edit adjustments and brighten it up just like a photo. I think the best thing though is the stabilize, and that I want to show you. So here is a video I took. And yes, I see the question about vertical or horizontal. It's either one. And I say, look how jerky that is. So I'm taking this video as I'm walking, and every time I step, it's jerking. I like this video. I want to make it better. I tap edit. And here, it's better to have the phone vertical. And it has to download the video. And this went a lot faster when And then you just tap a button that says stabilize, and it does it. And it is amazing. So here is where you can trim beginning or end, and you can crop, adjust, and filters, all the stuff that you can do with a photo. But if what you want is to stabilize, it's this little button right here that looks like a crooked solid square inside another one. Just tap it and it goes to work and it stabilizes the video. Now watch, you will not be able to see the jerks as I'm stepping. And I just think that's amazing. It also will not overwrite your original, so you get a saved copy. And you might be asking, I think somebody did ask, how do you find then in your library the one you just did? You know, well, on the save a copy for the video, it shows up right at the top. I think the photos showed up in date order right next to their original. The way you find them is to go to search and choose recently added, because they may have been taken years ago, but they were just created and added to your library today. So recently added will show me, you know, that photo, for example, that we just created. Okay. And I think then this is the last one. I showed you one thing that only the Apple could do. That was the holding on a person and removing it from the background. Here is one that only the Samsung camera can do. And it's called Director's View. And it's on the More menu. You'll see Director's View, Camera, and More menu, and Director's View. And what it does is it uses both the front camera, the selfie camera, and the rear camera at the same time. So you can have your face picture in picture over the video that you're taking. And here is a sample. So we were at this beautiful place along the Blue Ridge Parkway with the waterfall, and we have the sound turned off for other reasons, but if not, you would hear me talking as well.
I hear you talking enough.
Exactly. So that is Director's View in Samsung. And oh, no, I have review questions.
Did you learn something? Okay, true or false? Portrait mode will blur the background behind people.
True. That's exactly what it does. And you can blur background later, but the portrait mode gets it better, gets it right around the people.
Okay. The iPhone has a special feature that will lift a person from the rest of the photo. You must be using what app? Photoshop, Apple Photos, Google Photos, or Gallery?
Apple Photos, the flowery looking multicolored icon.
True or false? You can take video from photo mode by holding down on the shutter button.
So easy. You know, I've been taking more videos since I remembered that little tip.
Me too. You can smooth out a jerky video using features in A, Google Photos, B, Apple Photos, C, Samsung Gallery.
Depends on what you mean by a jerky video.
Take
a video of a jerk. That is...
I don't have any information about that.
That is a Google Photos video editing feature. Okay, I might even have a minute to deal with a question or two. I see some did come in.
Okay. Let's see, Mike Ungerman. Continuing problem that I have with Google Photos is poor ability to search and find specific albums by title. I have to sort either by last action date or alphabetically by name and then scroll down through hundreds of albums?
Well, search for album name works for me. Let me just make sure that you're doing it the same way as I am. So here is my complete library of 100,000 Google Photos. If I tap on search, I can search for, say, kayak. Now, here's the key. Do not press go. Do not enter. If you press enter, then you are searching all 100,000 photos for photos with kayak in it. But if you notice right away, I made a lot of kayak albums, and here is one from 2007. So it's finding all my albums with the word kayak in the title. And there's my 2007 Kayak Against Cancer album.
Okay, Anna Marie, I still get lots of duplicate photos. I capture screenshots on my iPhone. They get sent to Google Photos, but then I have duplicates. How can I fix this?
I have reported that, and it's just something to do. Do you have an iPad as well? I've had the exact same experience. I take a screenshot with the Apple, and somehow the way it goes to iCloud and to my iPad, it gets some tiny little change in there that makes it a different photo. Looks the same to us. All I can say is put that in a, what's it called? Review, not a review, help and report it.
Feature request. Feature
What?
request.
Feature request.
Well, no, I would call that a bug. So I would put that in, it's under help and feedback. Feedback, that's the word I was looking for. Feedback. You send feedback, tell them what's happening, and the more reports they get of it someday.
Okay, should I take video in horizontal or vertical?
Okay, are we?
We're out of here.
We're done, yeah, we're done. We'll answer the rest of the questions in the Q&A portion.
Good. Thanks so much, Chris. That was really great. I learned a lot. And director's view. I'm going to buy a Samsung phone. That's for vlogging. That's perfect. That's really great. I didn't know that. Excellent. Ray, the hard act to follow.
I don't know what to do now, but I'm going to give it a best try.
My favorite part. This is my favorite part of the show.
Let me just say goodbye to everybody on YouTube. Thank you for coming. If you're over there in our on our YouTube feed and you've enjoyed the show, just click us a like and a subscribe. That would be great. Oh, and the other thing everyone should know, that Chris and Jim, Geeks on Tour, their website is really, their YouTube channel is really close to 100,000, or sorry, 10,000 viewers. Now that is a big deal in the YouTube ecosystem. 10,000 is a big milestone. So if you haven't today, if you could go over to their YouTube channel, I'll put the link in the, maybe you guys could put the link in the chat. And then if you could go over and just subscribe, we're trying to get them over the 10,000. They're really close. And it would be great on this show if everyone did, but I don't, how many have you got left? How many? Chris, unmute yourself.
Have 90 left to go, right?
Oh, 90. So
9,910.
Yeah, you got 90 more to go. So that is unlikely we'll do it on the show today, but that will help.
We have 83 people today, so.
Yeah.
All right, everybody go there and
Oh, they're already subscribed.
Yeah, they should be anyway.
Create a new Google account.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
That would be.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Let me just stop the live stream and take it away, Ray.
All right, George Formby, unforgettable entertainer. Thanks goes to our TFS regular attendee, Steve Parker. He suggested this music outro for this week, and this is for an entertainer whose name I did not recognize, but admittedly I should have, and that would be George Formby. And he was around from 1904 to 1961, and he was a favorite of Queen Elizabeth, as well as, believe it or not, George Harrison, who was inspired by Formby to learn how to play the ukulele. Now, Formby actually played the banjo ukulele, also known as the banjo-lele or the banjo uke. Now, contrary to popular belief, and this was something I had always thought, the ukulele that we think that it was invented in Hawaii, well, its origin is actually from Portugal, when migrants brought it with them to the islands to work on the sugar plantations back in 1879. So the following 5 paragraphs are from OpenAI. George Formby, born George Hoy Booth, was an iconic British entertainer who left an indelible mark on the world of music and comedy. With his distinctive voice, cheeky charm, and expert ukulele playing, Formby became a beloved figure in the earliest 20th century and a lasting legacy that continues to captivate audiences today. He was born May 26, 1904 in Wigan, Lancashire. Formby hailed from a family of performers. His father, James Booth, was a renowned music hall comedian, and young George quickly followed in his footsteps. At the age of 7, he made his first stage appearance as a drummer, and by his teenage years, he had mastered the ukulele, which would become his signature instrument. Now, Formby's career took off in the 1930s when he began recording songs that showcased his humorous lyrics and infectious melodies. His catchy tunes such as Leaning on a Lamppost and When I'm Cleaning Windows became instant hits and endeared him to audiences across the globe. His comedic timing and cheeky persona made him a favorite on the silver screen as well, starring in numerous successful films. However, Formby's success wasn't limited to music and film. During World War II, he tirelessly entertained the troops, bringing laughter and joy to soldiers stationed far from home. His dedication and support earned him a Commander of the Orders of the British Empire in 1946. George Formby's contributions to entertainment, his endearing personality, and his talents on the ukulele remain etched in the annals of British culture. His infectious humor and catchy tunes continue to bring smiles to faces and remind us of the timeless power of laughter and music. Now, so today's clip has George Formby singing Leaning on a Lamppost from the 1937 film Feather Your Nest. Now, additionally, I've included a second link for the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain. Who knew? Performing the same song. This one is definitely worth watching. And has music changed in the last 90 years? I'd say a little bit.
But that was fun.
Well done, Ray. Well done. Thanks so much.
Walker.
Yes, indeed. Well, it's top of the hour. Again, a great show. We've had another episode we have finished. We want to thank everyone for coming. We will be moving into our Q&A, question and answer period now. And Chris and Jim, of course, will be staying for that. And you can put your hand up is probably the easiest way to answer the questions. But before we get there, I just want to remind everybody that we do have a show this coming Thursday. It will be Tech for Senior Live. We go over all the news, features, tech news of the week. And we're looking forward to it'll be a great show, lots of interesting news. So be sure and come and listen. Now, just remember though, it's not a Zoom meeting. It is, of course, we stream that out on a product called StreamYard, and it's streamed to either our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. And you'll find if you go to www.techforsenior.com, you'll see a big red button. Click that button and it'll just take you to the right spot. So we hope to see you there on Wednesday. And don't forget, Learning Chromebooks. Hugh and I will have a big show for you, which will occur about 1 hour after our Thursday morning show. And this will be Learning Chromebooks. And we have, again, a big show for you there. And then we're back to do it all again next week, which is not the week that you're supposed to bring your guest. It's the following week on June the 5th. So if you want to possibly win $25, you can bring a guest. And those of you who read our Saturday newsletter will find out the contest rules and how you are going to enter that. Don't forget our premiere video, half past the hour. I put the link in the chat if you want to learn about your Kindle or making things bigger in Windows, or you could be worth a lot of money assessing your net worth on your music collection, Ray. Could be, you could have a windfall there, right? Absolutely. So all those. So anyway, let's get on with the Q&A. If I think Pam has her hand up first. Pam, go ahead. Hello, Pam.
Pam doesn't appear to have any audio. I don't see a mic.
We did have a couple of questions in here, though.
Do you have the questions on the video? Jim,
Yeah.
what were her questions?
Okay, can you take a saved video and apply the slow down feature?
Now, this is why I teach. Because I thought no, but because she asked, I went and looked, and on the Samsung, yes, you can. My main answer to that, though, is you need a photo editor. You know, it's very easy with another photo editor, and a free one I like on the phones is called Filmora, or Filmora is also on the computer. But let me show you where it is on the Samsung. Yeah, are they spotlighting that or something? So here is a video that we took. If you've ever been to Epcot, you might have seen these at the Japan Pavilion, the drummers. Okay, so that's what? Taiko. Yeah, that's regular speed. Now I'm in Samsung Gallery. So with my Samsung phone using the Gallery app, not the Google Photos app. Edit. And there's this little clock right here. And I can tell it, give me half speed. Pretty cool. And I did not know that. All right. But on the iPhone, nothing that I can find. Get another app.
Okay. Let's see. Mike Ungerman says he likes the horizontal videos. Absolutely.
Yeah, I always have trouble. I asked that question because I always have trouble. And the other problem I have trouble with is if I start in horizontal and I flip it into vertical, it really, you shouldn't do that. If you're doing a whole video clip, if you're switching back and forth, it really gets really confusing, right? It doesn't work very well. So
it depends on where the video is intended to be shown. If it's intended to be shown on a mobile device, then it should be, then
it doesn't matter, really.
Really doesn't matter, yeah. But if it's, like Mike says, if you're going to watch it on a TV or on a big screen somewhere, it really does matter, because then you don't have that extraneous crap on the sides. Yeah.
We preached and preached for years, hold your phone horizontal, because like you would a regular camera. Because if you want to see it on a computer or on a TV, however, so many people these days only use a phone and only look at their photos and videos on a phone. And there, actually, the vertical is a more pleasing, because you're usually holding your phone vertical. The idea is to fill the screen, whatever screen you're going to be watching it on.
Okay. Bob likes to tip about videos with the photo button. Murray, can you do the Google Photos things with a PC or a Mac? Not much.
Very few.
Very little. And that's intentional on Google's part. They want everything to be mobile, and they don't want to have to support Macs and PCs and all the different configurations that are out there. And you can kind of understand that from a business point of view. It is, you know, we want our Picasa back, don't we? All right. Can you do a voiceover on videos on Director's View?
If you're using Director's View, you should be talking while you're videoing.
It's a narration.
In order to add narration, once again, you need a video editing software. ℍ𝕠𝕠𝕟 will do it.
Okay, I do pay for Google services. This is another one of Pam's. When I go to Google Photo to edit a video and I select more, an icon pops up, red video icon pops up. I think this is the Samsung editor instead of the Google editor. How do I change to the Google editor?
Okay, this is one of my pet peeves, because when you take, so this is my Samsung. Get it so you can see the whole thing. This is my Samsung, and when you take a photo with the camera, let me just take a quick photo. Okay, so I just took a selfie, and most people, when they want to see that photo, they'll tap on this little miniature here. You are now in a photo app. What photo app are you in? This is Samsung Gallery Editor. So when you take a photo, do not go to it with that. You have to go back out home and open Google Photos. The same photo will be there because Google sees your photo, your camera roll, but now you're using Google Photos tools. They look very different. So yes, people so often say, well, I don't have that tool. And if I can see their screen, I say, well, that's because you're not in Google Photos. You're in Samsung Gallery or you're in Apple Photos. You need to close the camera and go to the app that you want.
On the Google 6 and Chris and Edith, on the Google 6 and 7 phones, what of the features you showed are available? On Google phones, what extra features are available that are only on the Google phones? This question for Ron, Bob, and Edith, others who own Google phones.
Most everything I showed except for the black or colored background is available on the Google phone. And the things that you have to be a paid Google subscriber for, you get. You know, they figure you've paid if you have a Google phone, a Pixel phone.
Yeah. And any of these tips work on a Windows PC using Google Photos? I think we answered that. Pam asked about ℍ𝕠𝕠𝕟. ℍ𝕠𝕠𝕟 is a software that you can download. It's an app for your phone. It's also software on PCs and Macs for video editing, and there are a ton of them out there. ℍ𝕠𝕠𝕟 costs money on a PC anyway.
ℍ𝕠𝕠𝕟 Go is the app.
And that's free.
And it starts off free. I'm sure that, there's stuff you can pay for.
I'm sure you can pay for stuff, yeah.
And we did one of our shows on it a long time ago, but we did one of our shows on it.
Mike says, I still have Picasa installation program on my archives, and I install it on every computer I use. I like the Picasa editor. Yeah, many more features in Google Photos on the mobile. So, yeah. And if you are a premium member of Google Photos, you can also get the installation Picasa file.
A premium member of Geeks on Tour.
A premium member, right, a Geeks on Tour.
We have the Picasa installation file. It only works on Windows anymore. It's dead completely on Macs.
Okay.
Huey, did you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Chris, I have a Samsung S22 Ultra. And when I press that little circle at the bottom to see the picture I just took, I have trouble getting back to the camera. Is there a way you can quickly get back to the camera?
A back button, I think. So, yeah, just your back button at the bottom.
That'll do it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the one thing I love about Androids is that back button. Will always get you out.
No such thing on Apples.
Right.
Chris, you had mentioned some future thing that's going to be happening with Google Photos. You said that the new mind-blowing stuff that's happening. Can you give us a glimpse without your NDA, I guess, whatever you can and can't tell us, but can you
No, you would have to shoot you.
No, they announced it at their I/O, at their big Google conference. You know, everything is all AI, right? And Google has already been using a lot of AI in their photo management. That Magic Eraser uses AI to find the objects and delete them. They teased us with the fact that you will be able to now, if the person is off center, you'll just be able to move them over using kind of that same technique that I did on the iPhone, move them over. So, and they call it magic editing. You'll be able to replace the sky. You know, just say, hey, that sky is too dark. Give me a sunny, give me a pretty sky behind us. You know, just all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Carl's old time. I always thought it was best to take a photo with the phone in the horizontal mode. Well, yeah. Depends on how, you know.
But now YouTube wants us, you know, we have to take vertical format. So, I mean, things are changing.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty amazing.
Very good. Well, thank you for coming, Chris and Jim. That was great. We always appreciate you updating us on all the different products and phones. And does it look like you're going to, what's new, any new phones in the horizon for you too?
Both of mine are fairly old. You know, what I'm debating about, yeah, I just have this little iPhone. I really should get an iPhone 14 Pro.
Super Ultra.
But I love this little, you know, I really like
the
this
new ones
little...
are smaller too, so.
Anyway. Oh, but I did want to mention, yes, I chose some kind of fancy features to teach today, and I know some people are wanting just a Google Photos basics, so gives me an idea. One of our, either this Sunday or the next episode of our YouTube show, I think I will do a review of the basics of Google Photos.
There you go. There you go. Huey.
Yes, Ray, the music you played reminded me an awful lot of Lonnie Donegan and some of the other skiffle group in the 50s. Is there a connection, and can you add anything about that?
Yeah, I really can't add, but you're right. The similarity is there. Skiffle music had lots of instrumentation, including ukuleles in them, and that was very, very popular in England. It never really caught on in America, though.
Well, I sure did like, let's see what I just do. I did like Lonnie Donegan's, I can't remember, it was a train song, and I don't remember what the name of it was now, yeah, but it was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I know of Lonnie Donegan. I can't remember the name either.
Yeah.
Probably the one most of us remember is Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
No, that was
Tiny Tim.
That was Tiny Tim.
All right.
One of Lonnie Donegan's songs was "Does Your Chewing Gum Lose Its Flavor on the Bedpost Overnight?"
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I remember that. Yes. There you go. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. Thank you, Chris and Jim. Be sure and go over to their YouTube channel and like and subscribe.
Oh,
it is my mission in life to get you over that 10,000.
Oh, great. I see one more question I want to answer.
Which one?
Latest version of Android on Pixel 6a doesn't have a back button. Swiping motions required. There's a setting. There's a setting for that.
I found that setting, yeah.
Yeah, you can get the buttons back. The setting is called navigation. It's like home screen navigation or something like that. You can choose to have the buttons or use the swiping gestures.
There you go. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming. We will see you maybe on Thursday for Learning Chromebooks or for Tech for Senior Live. We look forward to, or we'll see you next week. Keep in touch and have a great day. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.